Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see all of you here again, many of you. Hope you all are as safe as you can be and your families are too. We have Akshay here with us, Akshaya Bhargava, our chairman and founder. And we have the rest of the team from the InvestorAi team. Today's topic is you plus AI, and we would love to show you, how you can use the power of AI in investing. So Akshay, over to you to actually show them how that can be done.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Guys, everybody, great pleasure to be here. I want to welcome our regulars who I'm now starting to recognize, at least by name, if not by face. We're really happy to have you here. Today's session is what we call you plus AI. And, some of you may have heard me talk about this before because it's not a completely new subject. And, as you know, we always have to achieve a balance between bringing in new content for people who have seen everything before and bringing in, still talking about some important things that some of our new participants may not have seen. So I hope you'll enjoy today. Before I start, let me start with my usual 2 questions on your investment experience. Prabal, would you mind putting up the question for everyone? Okay, so for some reason, I'm not able to see it. Okay, I can see it now. Just click on whatever. A normal percentage is roughly half the people are less than 1 year. And I am pleased to see that this is no different, which really makes me very, happy that people are trying to learn about investing. And I hope what you see here will give you some good habits. Prabal, would you try the second question? How many people use InvestorAi currently? Okay. So roughly half and half. So half more non-users than users. So again, that's very useful because then I will spend a little bit of time on showing you how the InvestorAi works and how you can use it for good results. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to share my screen with you and bring up the slides. Okay, so today's subject here is you plus AI. This is my favorite subject in many ways, because when I first started this is when I was working at Barclays, and in the middle, AI had got this reputation that it will take away all jobs and humans will be redundant, and there is a singularity coming in a few years where AI will be sentient, and Hollywood did nothing to help that cause. They made movies like Terminator, and they made movies like Ex Machina and stuff like that, which scared the bejesus out of everybody. But that is not so. I think AI is a very complementary power, and it can enhance what you do. So for me, the parallel is Iron Man suit rather than Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator. But let's go back to first principles. And as you know, I like first principles. I think it's very important to understand why we should invest. Firstly, it's fun and it's intellectually satisfying. Secondly, it can secure your financial future. And that is even more important in countries like India, where there isn't a big social security net. And, when you retire, you may have enough money through your job. You may not have enough money. You don't know. But this is something in your control and you can make that happen. Thirdly, it teaches you life skills beyond just investing. It can be quite tax effective, but equally, if you do it badly, it can be a disaster. So it is very important to understand how some of these things can be done. Now, the whole notion behind this, and some of you will have seen this slide, that I think you plus AI is the superpower, and it can be multiplied many times over with the power of time. Okay, now, if you've heard me talk about this, you'll be familiar with what's coming. But if you haven't, just bear with me. So I want to decompose this formula into three its components. One is U, second is the time, T, and the third is AI. Okay, so U is about knowledge and discipline. And I will talk a little bit more about it. T is about leveraging the power of time, and I will talk a little bit about that. And finally, AI is about using technology to improve your hit rate and your batting average. Okay, and we will talk about each of them in turn. If I talk about knowing about you, knowing yourself is a starting point. You know, what is your style? Are you an active investor? Do you prefer buy and hold, or do you prefer momentum, or do you prefer short term? How much time do you spend every day looking at your investments? And finally, are you disciplined enough? Now, I can go on talking about it, but as I've been doing, I found it very useful to get a real example of somebody doing it and hear their views, because then you'll hear not just me, but somebody else what is happening. So we have somebody within Bridgeweave, Shailesh Sridhar, who some of you may have interacted with on the chat forums. Shailesh is a young investor, but a very thoughtful investor, and scarily intelligent. And I'm not just praising somebody who works for Bridgeweave. It's the day I met him, and he started investing at a very, very early age. So I'm going to invite Sridhar and Shailesh, and I'm going to ask him to share with us some of his experiences. So probably let Shailesh in, please. Shailesh, welcome to the forum. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and can you tell us a little bit about your own investment journey? What is your investment style? How did you get into it? Just a little bit of background.
Yeah, I started trading about 14 years ago. In 2007,
when you were 3 years old.
I know, I was 14 years old. I used to go and sit with the brokers whole day. So basically just before the first crash of early 2008. And I've been continuously trading ever through it, and I've had high qualifications all towards investment management, and I always wanted to be in this field. In terms of strategy, the first thing about strategy when you're entering into investments is about asset allocation. Now you need to know how much money you're keeping away for investments, and you split it across multiple buckets, as I call it. One bucket would be your fixed income bonds. Then there is equity related instruments.
How do you do this for your current investments?
Yeah, I have three buckets, which is basically first one is something I call very short term trading in equity, which is either momentum or you catch falling knives and try to hope that it responds, popularly known as swing. I also do value investing or long-term investing. Basically, you buy and sort of hold it for some time because you think it's cheap and it's mispriced or underpriced. And the final bit is a little bit of options trading, which is pure speculation and strategies. So I manage it across all three buckets, and the weight of money of my investment, which goes into these buckets, actually change over time, and they are very relevant to how the market conditions are on almost
adapting it as what you see in the market. So let me move to a next question. How do you use InvestorAi? Because InvestorAi doesn't cover the options and stuff, so it can't help you there. So yes. How do you actually use the app?
Well, as I said, the short term and the long term bucket of mine needs ideas. So for short-term traders, there is momentum, which is alpha 330 signals, and also swing, which is even more short-term, which is almost intraday or BTST. I love swing a lot, and because I always believe that securities that have fallen a lot, and if the technicals are right and the fundamentals aren't too shabby, you can buy it for an immediate 2%, 1.5-2% uptick, and that's what I've always looked at ever for about almost 10-12 years. I've always been doing that, and that's why I use swing as well. Now, in terms of value investing, also it's very important that you find these hidden gems in the stock market. I mean, there's about 4,000 listed stocks in the BSE. And if you remove all the low volume trade, there's about 600, 700 securities. And there's just no way you could keep track of it. So I use value investing for the ideas. Of course, there is a lot of other slight a bit of homework that I do as well. But I would say value InvestorAi reduces by homework by half.
Yeah. Okay. So my final question to you is, what can you do with InvestorAi today that you could not do before you had it?
Correct. For example, I want to take up an insight that I had bought some time ago. So Make Money Organics had come out as an insight in about February. Now, I didn't know about that company at all. It came out as an insight. I immediately saw it. It was really nice. It was at 7.5. I mean, the valuation was very low. It was at 7 of P. I knew it was. So I immediately, as I look at an insight, I immediately run to play. I look at all the 6 factors, how it historical performance, drawdown, capital structure. I'm not too worried about a company having bad capital structure. Capital structure means high debt, which is not a big problem for me. But for me, I'm a very value centric person. I want valuation to be a very high score. I don't even order on Swiggy without discounts. So I take that and I see that. Then I go and Google about it. What does the company actually do? And I understood that Megmani Organics is the biggest paracetamol producer in India, and with the Europe third wave or second wave that was going on, I knew these guys would do a lot of sales, and they had already done a lot of sales, and the stock hadn't really gone up, and that's the beauty of value investing as well. These stocks wouldn't have gone up, and the AI just scans 600 securities every day and gives out good ideas, and that's important for me. There is just no way I could check each security, go to money control or some other source, look at all the ratios. That's just way too hard to compute on small scale level, and on high scale level, InvestorAi does that.
Thank you so much, Shailesh. That was a really, really interesting snapshot. There are 10 questions that are already in my mind, but I'm going to stop here because we need to continue. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, guys, if I can just come back to what I was talking about, and I can again bring you back to the presentation I had. So, what is your style? What kind of investor are you? Is a very, very profound and important question. And these are not one-off answers. You know, your thinking will evolve, your mindset will change, your preferences will change, your understanding will change. So these are things you have to think of constantly. Now, there are some good investment habits that you can develop. And Shailesh sort of pointed us to some of them. One is read as much as you can and talk to people. And this is very, very important because you will learn from others, you know, because other people may have done research that you may not have thought of. That is why we created the InvestorAi community. And if any of you want to, please, in fact, I would say, please join the community. I don't even want to say if you want to join. Join. If you don't find it useful, you can always leave. But, you know, if you join, just put a message on this chat and we will add you to this group. Secondly, understand market information. There is a lot of market information that is available in InvestorAi, but like in the case of Shailesh, he went and did his own research on Google. I think that is very important. So you've got to do your own research. You have to understand. Okay. Then finally, thirdly, keep asking, why is this happening? It's only when you get into causality that you will start understanding, you know, the trends and being able to predict them. You have to form your own view on the market, and you have to find the source of best ideas you can get. InvestorAi will give you a ton of ideas, but that's not the only one. You can, you know, you have to read newspapers, you've got to talk to people, friends, etc. If you do it regularly, you will develop what I call muscle memory. You'll be able to look at something and just by one glance, you will be able to tell, you know, yahan kuch gadbad hai, ya kuch hone wala hai, you know, something like that. So I find that very useful. I mean, I look at InvestorAi myself every day. I now know the screens. If I see chart pattern or a number in a certain way, I know I don't have to go into massive amount of detail to know this is interesting. I need to do more. Okay. And finally, invest in yourself before you invest in the market. Invest in education, invest in getting the best ideas. And I would urge you to think of InvestorAI subscription as an investment in yourself. Okay. So all these things are really important. And even if you make mistakes, that's fine. It is an opportunity to learn, not so much about the market, but about yourself. Okay. So that is as far as I want to go with the you part of the equation. The second part of the equation is time, the power of time. And this is a quote from Einstein that I like a lot. So compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world and the most powerful thing I have ever encountered. Now, you could debate that, but the concept is quite obvious. What I want to say is, how do you turn 35 lakhs into 15 crores? Okay, it's not magic. Now, 50, let us say you're 25 years old. And let us say you have only 5 lakhs to start with. And let us say you can save 1 lakh every year. Okay. And let us assume you will make 15% return every year and reinvest it. If you start at the age of 25 and you start with 5 lakhs, when you are 60, which means you have 35 years to go, at a 15% compounded rate of return, where it basically doubles every 4 or 5 years, on the other side. You just think of it that way. You will end up with 15.5 crores when you're 60. Okay. If you wait till 70, okay, it will double twice because you've got 10 more years to go. And talking about 62 crores, these are very large sums of money. Okay. But you will do it when you have time on your side. If you have only 5 years to go, you will never be able to do that unless you get extraordinarily lucky. So discipline and regularity is very, very important. And I emphasize that hugely because all of you are young people. I'm not that young anymore. So I don't have 35, 40 years ahead of me to be able to invest. I wish I had started at 25, but when I was 25, I didn't have money. By the time I had money, I wanted to spend it on other things. So I was not disciplined enough. By the time I got around to investing, I had time, but not this kind of time. Okay, so just bear in mind that time is on your side today. Use it. Don't waste it. Okay, very, very important. Then finally, the Iron Man suit, which is what AI is. Now, as Shailesh said, he found this company called Mega Money Organics. I also actually saw the inside. Who is this company? I didn't even know who they are. But Shailesh took the time to understand the company once the signal was there. He then analyzed some of the information, found that they are big producers of paracetamol. Then he bought it. And I don't know if he sold it or not. But InvestorAi can do all that for you. You cannot analyze 600 stocks in the Indian market all the time. So while human analytics can do what we do, just the ability to do it all the time, every day, without fail, without going on holiday, without falling sick, that is not possible. For that, we need a machine. Okay, so that is what InvestorAi can do for you. For those of you who use InvestorAI, you will see our Ideas Corner. Ideas Corner has a value investing algo for buy and hold investors. There's the new age themes for international investors. There is Alpha 330 for momentum investors, 30-day ideas. There are swing trades for 3-day ideas, so really, really short term. Then there's a whole range of technicals and fundamentals and alerts for quarterly results. Now, we don't show you just any old quarterly result. There has to be a signal in the system before we show it to you. So it's not like if you go to Money Control, you get all 48 companies who are declaring results in the coming week. In InvestorAi, you may see only 5, but those 5 have signals on them. So you have to pay attention. And, there is a added value here. People ask me, how is InvestorAi different? Okay. And my answer is always that you can go to Money Control, you can go to Stock Edge, you can go to Market Mojo. There are dozens of information providers, and they all show it quite nicely. So I'm not sort of dissing them. They show everything very well. Nice analytics, nice graphs and charts, but basically they're telling you what has happened. They are analyzing all the data that is available on historic performance and historic variables. InvestorAi tells you what is likely to happen. Okay, think of this as a stock market Jyotishi. He will tell, he's making predictions, and we make predictions. That is what makes it very different. There is nothing else in the market that makes predictions, and nothing else that makes it to the level of accuracy that we do. So just look at what InvestorAi has achieved in the last recent past. It has produced 105 ideas in the Indian market. This is all in just the Indian market, which have beaten the index by at least 3% in 90 days. It has produced 1,500 Alpha 330 ideas, which have beaten the market by 2.4% or 1.4% in a 30-day period. So if you start annualizing that, you really come to a big number. Similarly, 448 swing trade ideas, which have also outperformed the market, and 304 short swing ideas, which again have beaten the market. So this is actually a very, very powerful system. It doesn't, look, everything it says will not beat the market. But if you blindly take what AI is saying, you may lose money, or you may make money. But if you combine the power of your own judgment with what the machine is telling you, that is the best thing you can do. And that is why I keep saying that you plus AI is the winning combination. It is not just AI, because otherwise, if AI could do everything, we would not have launched InvestorAi. We would be sitting in a black box. The machine would be trading, and we'd be making money and smoking cigars. But you need human judgment. So I think human judgment plus machine capabilities is really what creates magic. So what I now want to do is stop here, and I want to actually go through the screens a little bit. So just bear with me while I put up my phone, and I will share my screen.
While you get that up, Akshay, actually Vishal's question was exactly that, AI over human edge. He wanted to know that.
It's not AI versus human, Vishal. It is AI plus human. It is not one is better than the other, but together that they are magic. That is what matters. So I showed you the Ideas Corner screen. So let me start with Ideas Corner. But before we do that, you must look at play. Play is really, really quite important. So, you can sort of pick these, since we are talking about Mega Money Organics, Make Money Organics. So you can see. So what play is showing you is how does Mega Money Organics compare to the Nifty 500? And the red shape is Mega Money, and gray is the market. And the larger the shape, the better it is. So Make Money is much better on valuation. It is still undervalued compared to the market. Its historic performance is very good. For some reason, its future outlook is not that great. That's the warrant some investigation. And on other characteristics, it is fine. You could take anything. You could take sort of Reliance Industries, and actually there's another stock Indian stock that has gone crazy called Hikal. And again, not a very strong profile in terms of valuation or in terms of other things, but this stock has done really, really, really well. So play is a fun little thing that shows you lots of things. So if I go to ideas now, one of the things that you should remember, the top right-hand square is your preferences section. If you go to that, and you must select your markets correctly. Now, I've selected Italy because I was showing it to some Italian people. Let me switch off UK and US. And it's really as easy as that. Just switch on and off, So now I just have India market selected. You then should select your sectors. And I've just got a few sectors selected, and I will just leave it at that. So once you have that, then the machine knows what you're really, really looking at. So if I now go to value investing, it will tell me what value investing does, basically finds good stocks that are undervalued. And now it is showing me that there are 8 insights available. So let me just pick up one. This looks like Manappuram Finance. Yes, it is. And this stock insight was triggered on 8th of April when the stock was at the 3rd percentile and trading at 157. Since then, the price has fallen, but the relative valuation has gone up a little bit. And this is an important concept because value investing always looks at relative valuation, not at the absolute valuation. So it adjusts for stock splits, dividends, and so on and so forth. You have to remember that. And the chart we show you, again, is not a chart you'd see anywhere else. This is not a price chart. This is a relative value chart. So just bear that in mind. Okay, now, now anything below the dotted line, to the left of the dotted line is undervaluation. The dotted line is the 20th percentile. Anything to the right is not undervalued. So this thing is undervalued. But is it a good stock? That is where the sector rank comes in. And it is telling me that it is 61st percentile, which is not bad, pretty good. Capital structure is not good, so they are probably over leveraged. As you know, NBFCs, all have capital structure problems. Consensus view is fantastic. I mean, analysts love this stock. Okay, and valuation is at a point where it is attractive, so 67th percentile, and future outlook is very good. So if you are like Shailesh and not worried about capital structure, this is a great stock to buy. And if you're like me, who really worries about over leveraging, then I would be more cautious. But I can go to live info here and explore some more, and sort of look at news and look at articles and do all kinds of research. And then finally, back testing. How has this stock done? Has it been volatile in the past? And yes, it has. It has fallen below 20th percentile twice in the last 2 years, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to go too deep into value investing, but this is just to, for new people who have come in, a way to see this. Then there is, of course, Alpha 330, which is one of my absolute favorites. And there are always more insights on Alpha 330, and you can see there's a whole bunch of them. And so let me sort it by gainers. And then, so this is probably HDFC Bank. Yes, it is HDFC Bank. Very, very recent insight, 5th of May. So, and it's already up almost 1% since the insight was triggered. And it will show you similar stocks and so on and so forth. I talked about accuracy, and you see a target button at the top. If you click on that, it will show you accuracy. You can see that this algo has generated 579 insights at a 75% accuracy, and all of them collectively have delivered a 3% return. This gets updated every day, and you see it go up and down. So it's very transparent and very visible to you. We talked about swing trades. This is an algo that is only available in India. It covers only the futures and options listed stocks. So it is showing me that there is one insight, and I can look at that. There's one open idea, which is HDFC. And if I wanted to do more research on it, I can go in and look at it any further. And it also tells you that this was generated on the 6th of May, and it expires on the 10th of May. So these are really 3 working day ideas. Let me stop here. I think what I really wanted to show you that there is a whole bunch of information, insights, analytics. They are all predictive in nature. They are available to you on demand within the app. You will see, and there are many features that you can use that to make it more useful for you. So if you click on the bell icon, it tells me there are 700 insights. There are stocks that I'm monitoring that there's nothing on them. And then there are no cool things at the moment. And from time to time, we will tell you of interesting things that are coming up. So you'll be able to see these. If you go to the menu button, you will see Knowledge Center, where there are little videos on every algo and how they work. I saw a question on whether there's backtesting and can we explain the models. So to some extent, we don't have all that kind of mathematical detail here, but you will be able to get an idea of what the algo does. There is a glossary that is really interesting, and you can just click on anything and it will show you a quick definition of what the term means. This is really quite useful, and you've already seen references. The last thing I want to show you is something called active monitoring. If you click on the monitor button at the bottom, You can monitor any stock. So now, since we have talked about make money organics, I can say, okay, I want to track this. All you have to say is monitor now and you're done. Okay. Now, when you go to the home page, it now shows you what other people are looking at, and you can just swipe left to right. You can look at your watch list. These are stocks that I am actively monitoring. Since I just clicked on Make Money Organics, you will see it soon. Here it is. And the red circle means that there is a live insight on this stock. I click on that, and it shows me how the stock has performed, which is pretty incredible. And then this insight itself is 88.6% up. This is really, really fantastic. So this value investing insight was triggered on 19th of February, and today it's at the 76th percentile. I wish I had bought it. Anyway, so this is active monitoring. The active monitoring acts like your personal assistant. So I'm going to stop here, and so I'm going to stop sharing.
Have quite a few.
Yeah, and then let's take questions. Very happy to answer them.
I'm going to actually, we just got one. What do we mean when we say percentile? Actually, Rajiv has just asked us that, and then I'll go back to the ones behind.
Okay. So think about it. Think about when you're in school, Rajiv. Okay, let us assume you have 200 people in your class. Okay, and let us say you came 20th. Okay, now I could say I came 20th in a class of 100. You could say you came 20th in a class of 200. Sarthak could say he came 20th in a class of 20. Now, all of us have the 20th rank, but we cannot compare one with the other because we don't know what is the total population. What percentile calculation does, it changes the base to 100. Okay, and then it calculates your rank on that basis. So while nominally all three examples I gave you were of the 20th rank, when you convert it to percentile, you would be furthest because you came 20th in a class of 200. I would be next because I came in 20th in a class of 100, and Sarthak would be last if he came 20th in a class of 20. So what percentile does, it gives you a common base of comparison.
Okay. Sachin, we'll come back to your question. I'm going to take one which Apurva has asked us a little earlier. Are there any long calls given or even short calls are given?
So all our calls are long calls. The only place where we give short calls is swing trades. Okay, that's, frankly, you can't, because, our coverage is much wider than just the FNO market in India. And you can only do short calls in the FNO sector. So, Sarthak, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, actually, you nailed it on the head. The reason why we do not have, long sell recommendations are because you cannot carry the position. Until we do FNO, we don't really want to do a side gig. Wait for the FNO and the options. It's somewhere in the pipeline, and then you would have more and more sell recommendations. For now, long will do.
See, what I would suggest is, the technical answer is yes, you get short signals only in the swing algo. But you have to bear in mind that, we are a new product, and we are phenomenally proud of what we've got. We want to constantly keep it the best option, the best alternative of getting really, smart, predictive signals in the world. So we will constantly keep improving it. There is a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We have a roadmap as long as our arm. So there's a portfolio module that is coming. A lot of people have come to me and said, why don't we look at crypto? Then from time to time we get futures and options requests. So it's all in the hopper. And stay close to InvestorAi. New things will keep coming in from time to time.
Yeah. Sarthak, do you want to take Narayan's question?
Yes, yeah. I will. Narayan, just before I do that, just add on to Akshay. The very first 2-3 years of our business, we set up our library, set up the systems, There are a lot of questions on automation. Guys, ours is a completely automated shop. So we're proud to do that. It's no human intervention. There is no pump and dump. We also see the insight the right exactly the time you do. So, those are things that we did in the first 2 years. And, you would see the dividends. Now we have the broad libraries, the broad models. We can leverage it for portfolio, for crypto. Bear with us. A lot's coming. Now, to Narayan's question, and what kind of algos do we use? So before even we go to algos, typically we have classification and regression kind of problem statements to which we use statistical methods, also deep learning methods. I think we also have our data scientist here today. I mean, this is intellectual property in terms of giving away what models we use, but it is in recurring neural nets and, residual systems and stuff like that. Without going into too much detail, we will have a proper knowledge.
Look, we're not going to give away secrets of our algo. So, but of course, we want you to trust it. And that is why we show accuracy every day. The thing you must remember is we spent as a company 2 years of our life as a company training these algos. And training is very important, because when you make the algo, it's like a super intelligent newborn baby. Okay, it is very intelligent, but it knows nothing. Okay, only when it starts to be trained, it starts to get good at what it does. Now, it learns very fast because it is super intelligent, but it's still a child. Now, somebody asked me, why can't we make our own algos? Of course, you can make your own algos. Please go ahead. But you will take 2 years to come to the level of accuracy and understanding that we have, because it will take you 2 years learning for your algo, even if you create the same thing, to come to the same point. So what you're really seeing in the app are algos that have now been trained for over 2 years, and we constantly monitor, train, tweak, teach it new things as it happens. I mean, a lot of it is automated, so please don't think there's somebody sitting there, teaching the algo. But in effect, that's what we do.
Yes, and
yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Sarthak.
Yeah, sorry. There's a question on, apart from historical performance, does the algo factor in macroeconomic indicators, sector-wise growth trends, qualitative factors, and so on? Aditya, actually, a very good question. As a matter of fact, besides using third-party indicators, we design our own. The reason why we can do that is we have the broadest coverage in our across 21 exchanges. Once we start aggregating that intelligence across different models, etc., that helps us quite a lot. So to answer your question, historical data is just one side of the equation. There is forecast, there's technicals, there's momentum, there's a lot more that goes in. Close to 900 features go into a model. Just to
let me thanks, Sarthak. Let me pick up Rajiv Shekhar's question. It says sometimes the signal in alpha 330 shows high and sometimes it shows low. How do I understand it? So, Rajiv, what happens in alpha 330? We actually calculate the same signal for every company in the world every day. I mean, it sounds like a big claim, but yes, we do millions and hundreds of millions of calculations every day. Whenever that signal crosses a certain threshold, we then trigger it that it must be shown on the app, right? Once we show it on the app, because it is a 30-day signal, we keep it open for 30 days. But obviously, daily, every market variables will change. So the signal will go up and down. And in the chart, that is what you're seeing, that in the last 30 days, how the signal has moved. Now, when the signal is high, so alpha 330 is fundamentally a buy signal. So when the signal is high, that is a good time to buy. When the signal is low, it is not a good time to buy. That is all it means. Okay. Now, just because signal is low today doesn't mean it could not go high tomorrow. So what you have to do is to keep looking. If you think there is a signal in a stock you like, so let's take Make Money Organics. Let us say there is a signal on alpha 330 that comes on Monday. And you say, okay, this is a good company. And you actually see it on Wednesday, by which time it has become low. My suggestion to you is click active monitoring. Start monitoring that algo. And then every day on your homepage, you will see it on your dashboard. And whenever the signal goes high, then you can sort of look at it and decide whether you wish to buy or not.
We have actually an interesting comment from Sajid. He actually says, Sajid, I saw your comment just some time back, but I think it's now not showing on the group. But Akshay, he actually said that you plus InvestorAi is equal to a lot of money. Actually, that's what Sajid said. But anyway, so I just wanted to read that.
Sajid, more power to you. Go for it.
And of course, Sriram is here, and he has an interesting take on you plus AI, Akshay. He says he looks at it as AI plus me, because he says that once InvestorAi triggers the stock or the insight that he needs to look at, he then goes and does all the research, right? And then takes action. So yeah, that's just a comment that came in.
That's absolutely correct, Sriram. And welcome back. Nice to see you again.
Great. And we have that our favorite question every week, Akshay, which is when to sell the instrument, at what point should I decide? This is Sachin's question.
Yeah, Sachin, again, good question. Yes, we don't show you when to sell. We'll probably never tell you exactly, aaj sell karo jaake, because we don't know when you bought, we don't know what price you bought it at, etc. But what we are working on something. Watch this space. It's no more than a few weeks away, where we will give you signals that will help you decide whether you wish to sell or not. Don't think of it as a sell signal, but think of it as some kind of indicator, that will tell you that the future possibility of the stock going further up is not very strong. So that's all I will say at the moment, because we are still, in the process of designing this whole thing. But there has been so many questions about when to sell that we decided we need to do something about it, and we are working on it.
And we have a webinar from last week, which is up on our YouTube channel. It can give you some insights around that. So Sachin, please take a look at that as well. Akshay, Purushottam as well as Sajid actually are talking about specific features that they've just kind of given us some to filters across algos. And we also saw, can we have search, in the app?
Actually, that's a very good point. Way back, we had a very old version there was a search feature there, and I can't remember why we took it out. I'm sure there was a good reason. But good feedback. Thank you for bringing it up. Filters and search. So we have filters within the algo. And you can filter by different criteria. But I suspect when you say search, I suspect you want to search for a particular company, whether there is a signal or not. If that is what you mean, there is a very simple way to do that. Just put it in active monitoring. Okay. And then when you click on the active monitoring tile for that company, it will show you if there is a signal or not immediately. So there's a very simple way to figure that out.
Okay. Apurvi has a question. How good would these algos be predicting Corona or 2008 crash? Any back tests?
Hey, come on, Corona. Who could have predicted Corona? Apurvi, you're being a little unfair. This is just an algo. It's not, Oracle.
Sarthak, Vishal has a question on which parameters do we look at for future outlook of the company when we put that out?
Yes, so we look at revenue growth, your EPS growth, and analyst expectations. And analyst expectations are again based on forecast, etc., across all the brokers on the street. It's a consensus estimate.
Yeah. So let me just come back to Apurvi's question, because I think I sort of, the algos can't do it, Apurvi, but it doesn't make it a bad question. So take the 2008 crash. Why did it happen? It happened because of nothing to do with the stock market itself. In fact, it had nothing to do with the stock market. It had to do with the mortgage market in the US, and the subprime market and the housing market and stuff. And when all these things collided together, it caused a very big impact on the stock market. So what our algos do, they take all the data relative to the stock market and use that to make predictions. They do know what they don't do, and what nothing can do actually, unless you make it a giant size computer. and maybe one day somebody will do that, that take in all asset classes, all categories, look at interrelationships, and then try to predict what changes in one, what might do to the other. I think that kind of thing, capability doesn't exist anywhere. That only humans can develop.
Akshay, Jassim has a good point, and something I think that we can tell him is coming soon, which is, he says, can we have in each tile, it show the last traded price, LTP?
Good point, Jassim. Yes, we can. One of the things we are working on is, because today we show end of day prices. But I think there is a little project underway. And again, this is one of those coming soon kind of things, where we will be able to show you real-time or near real-time prices. So, so that will give you the LTP or, close to it at any time. We're also going to be able to let you upload your portfolio, so whatever you're holding. And that then will trigger a whole new set of predictions and analytics that you will be able to see. That is, to me, a very, very exciting module. And but that'll take several weeks to come through. But please watch this space. We are in the process. We are currently working on it as we speak.
Actually, I'm looking at the time, but we have one last question I'm going to take from Aditya Kambe. But before I get to that, Omkar wanted to know if he could intern with us. Omkar, we'd love to talk to you. So just do send us, reach out to any one of us on LinkedIn, or you could just write to the support ID, and I will be putting that up, and it's also on the chat very soon. So thank you, Omkar. Looking forward.
But just bear in mind, you will work harder than you have ever worked in your life. So be ready. This is not for the faint of heart.
Anyway. You work harder than the machines.
A good one, Sarthak. So Akshay, before I also see somebody has just asked me about the, so this is a great app, but how, how do we go to the next steps? I'm going to come to that very soon. Akshay, Aditya's question, I'm just going to take that. He says, I've noticed, sorry, it keeps moving for me. I've noticed high volatility for most stocks during quarterly earnings reporting, even before the results are announced. Do your algos take these into account?
Sarthak, will you answer that? I want to just show one thing.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, obviously, and again, what you're looking at is the result day, and the performance of the stock after the result is declared. So obviously, new information is coming on to the market, and based on efficient market, that leads to a change. But how do we factor those in? What we do is we look at the feature and how they deprecate, how they are going up from the analyst projections to 12 months forward rolling returns. As in, it's a forward estimate that we quants use to identify how much expected beat is expected from a company. If it starts deteriorating, if it starts negative, the chances of it outperforming the results are lower. So there could be a downside correction. So, obviously, if you have an insight, it stays active, but you will see no signal in those cases.
So guys, thank you, Sarthak. The last thing I want to show you, which I forgot, is if you pick any insight, okay, this is EID Parry, which since 19th of April has delivered 33%. So it's gone gangbusters. But what I want to draw your attention to is at the bottom left, there is a trade button. If you click on that, it takes you to a small case gateway, where if you have an account with any of these 9 or Alice Blue or Edelweiss, you can directly trade, okay, without so there are 11 brokers that we are completely connected to. You can trade directly if you already have an account. So you never need to get out of InvestorAi and do that. So that's just what I wanted to show you. Thank you.
Great. Everyone, before you leave, there is an excellent discount we have, so make the most of it. I'm just going to, just very quickly show you what the discount number is and how you can go about it. I've just got the screen up. If you are already registered with us, just on your app, go into subscriptions, just choose the plan, put in this discount WBNR 11, and boom, you're going to get your special discount for attending the webinar. And if you have not registered with us, and we see many new people here today, just come on to our website, www.investorai.co.uk, and you can just follow the registration process, and your your discount can be put in there. We hope to see a lot of you subscribe to us. Please rate the webinar. It's up on your screen. We look forward to seeing all of you next week. And today was fabulous, the amount of questions that all of you asked, and we look forward to doing this over and over and over again every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. So hope to see you all soon.
We'll see you next Saturday at 12:30, but please stay safe, and I hope you and your families stay free of coronavirus and anything. So, and thank you very much for today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.